From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. Radio Pilipinas World Service can also be heard on shortwave broadcast through the shortwave facilities of the United States Agency for Global Media or Voice of America on the following shortwave frequencies: 12.020 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.665 MHz. I'm your host, Leo Magpayo, and this is Dateline Malacañang in Review. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has announced a major breakthrough in the country's energy sector, a significant natural gas discovery near the Malampaya fields, the Philippines' first in more than 10 years, and a development seen to strengthen long-term energy security. In a video message released Monday, the president said the newly identified reservoir, Malampaya East 1 or MAE-1, sits about 5 kilometers east of the existing field and is estimated to contain 98 billion cubic feet of natural gas. According to President Marcos, that volume translates to 14 billion kilowatt hours of electricity per year, enough to power 5.7 million households, 9,600 commercial buildings, or nearly 200,000 schools annually. The chief executive underscored the role of Filipino engineers and workers in the operation, noting that the drilling was completed without any accidents or environmental incidents. The Malampaya Deepwater Gas-to-Power project off Palawan remains the country's only source of indigenous natural gas, supplying up to 20% of Luzon's electricity. Officials say the new discovery is expected to extend the life of the facility and help reduce dependence on imported fuel.
I am pleased to inform everyone that for the first time in over a decade, a significant natural gas discovery has been made. The discovered reservoir, called Malampaya East 1 or MAE-1, is located about 5 kilometers east of the existing Malampaya field. The MAE-1 is estimated to contain around 98 billion cubic feet of gas in place. Katumbas nito ang halos 14 na bilyong kilowatt-hour ng kuryente sa isang taon. Ibig sabihin, makakapag-supply ito ng kuryente sa mahigit 5.7 milyon na milyong kabahayan, 9,500 na gusali o halos 200,000 paaralan sa loob ng isang taon. This helps Malampaya's contribution and strengthens our domestic gas supply for many years to come. Initial testing showed that the well flowed at 60 million cubic feet per day. This indicates that the well has the potential to produce even more, confirming it is a high productivity resource comparable to the original Malampaya wells. Aside from the natural gas, the discovery also includes condensate, which is a high-value liquid fuel. This additional resource can help support the government's efforts for the stabilization of our power supply. Ipinagmamalaki rin natin na Pilipino ang nanguna sa drilling na ito. Higit sa lahat, natapos nila ito na walang aksidente o environmental incident. MAE-1 is the first milestone under the Malampaya Phase 4 drilling campaign, which also includes the Camago 2 and the Bagong Pag-asa wells. The next steps are the completion and testing of the Camago 3, followed by the drilling of the Pag-asa exploration well to pursue more potential gas resources. This achievement was made possible through the work of the SC38 Consortium, led by Prime Energy, in partnership with UC38, PNOC Exploration Corporation, and Prime Oil and Gas Incorporated. Patunay ito na sa responsableng pangangalaga sa kaligsasan at matibay na pagtutulungan ng gobyerno at pribadong sektor, makakamit natin ang mas maaasahang supply ng enerhiya para sa bawat Pilipino.
That was Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. pointed to the Antique Airport Development Project as a model for cost-efficient, high-impact infrastructure, saying it proves how far public funds can go when spent properly. Speaking at the inauguration of the newly rehabilitated airport in San Jose de Buena Vista on Monday, the president said he was struck by the relatively low cost of the upgrades. President Marcos noted that the total bill for improvements to the passenger terminal building reached only 120 million pesos, with the control tower accounting for 42 million pesos of that amount. President Marcos emphasized that the Antique project shows what government can accomplish with disciplined spending. The chief executive urged officials to use the airport as a benchmark for future public works, especially amid persistent concerns over corruption, substandard construction, and overpricing. President Marcos also underscored the need for timely and well-executed projects so communities can benefit immediately. The president added that the Antique upgrade is part of a broader modernization push that includes major improvements at Iloilo International Airport and Rojas Airport aimed at boosting tourism, trade, and economic activity across Western Visayas.
At ang sinabi sa akin, the total cost for all of the improvements and the construction was 120 million pesos. That is, nung sinabi sa akin, medyo nagulat ako. At sabi ko, napakamura. Yung tower pa lang, 42 million. 42 million lamang ang ginastos. Ito ay isang magandang halimbawa na kung tama ang pinaglalagyan ng pera ng tao, makikita natin napakarami na kaya natin gawin mas mabilis, mas mura, at mas maganda. Gawin ninyo itong pamantayan para sa ating serbisyo sa mga residente at sa ating mga turista. Tiyakin natin na isasagawa ng maayos ang mga proyekto upang mas mabilis itong mapakinabangan ang ating mga mamamayan. Sama-sama, itaguyod natin ang isang bagong Pilipinas kung saan maginhawa ang pamumuhay, maunlad ang pamayanan at matatag ang ating bayan.
That was Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. visited Bacolod City on Monday to inspect the newly opened Sumag water treatment plant, an infrastructure milestone aimed at securing clean and reliable water for hundreds of thousands of residents. Touring the facility, the president emphasized that dependable water systems are vital to public health and economic growth, calling the project a product of sound planning and responsible investment. President Marcos noted that the Sumag plant, now one of the largest in the Negros Island region, will play a central role in strengthening Bacolod's long-term water security. The facility supplies treated bulk water to the Bacolod City Water District, ensuring a more stable and consistent supply for the city.
It is an initiative that represents sound infrastructure planning and responsible investment in our country's future. As we all know, water is a precious resource that sustains our health and our life and enables economic activities. When water systems work, progress flows. The Sumag water treatment plant is a clear example of how the public and private sectors can work together to provide solutions. Considered one of the largest water treatment facilities in the Negros Island region, the Sumag Water Power Plant strengthened Bacolod City's long-term water security. This facility supplies treated bulk water to Bacolod through the City Water District to ensure a reliable water supply for the city.
In the town of Salvacion, Murcia, the plant can produce up to 75 million liters of potable water per day, enough to serve around 100,000 households or roughly 500,000 residents across Bacolod City and the municipality of Murcia. The chief executive said the 1.5 billion peso investment, supported by shareholder equity, climate fund managers, and the Development Bank of the Philippines, reflects strong confidence in the country's infrastructure sector, particularly in projects aligned with climate resilience and sustainable development. President Marcos Jr. also underscored the importance of public-private partnerships in addressing development challenges, stressing that well-planned, responsibly financed infrastructure must directly benefit communities. The President added that the Sumag water treatment plant stands as proof of what collaboration can achieve, reinforcing the administration's push to build a new Philippines through projects that uplift everyday life.
With a capacity to deliver up to 75 million liters of potable water per day, this project will benefit about 100,000 households, roughly 500,000 residents. It would not be possible without the direction of Tubig Pilipinas Group Inc. through its subsidiary Bacolod Bulk Water Incorporated. At the same time, the project benefited from international expertise, including water treatment and automation technology from Israel-based Watermatic International. The 1.5 billion peso investment, funded through shareholder equity with participants from climate fund managers, the DBP, reflects our strong confidence in the infrastructure sector. It demonstrates our country's established position to make long-term investments succeed. It is particularly true for those aligned with climate resilience and with sustainable development. Ladies and gentlemen, projects such as the Sumag water treatment plant remind us that as long as we work together, we can transform our communities for the better. It reinforces this administration's direction to create well-planned, responsibly financed infrastructure for our people. May our path ahead be clear, and the water that will flow in our communities nurture as we build a bagong Pilipinas for all.
That was Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Still on Monday, Malacañang reaffirmed its respect for constitutional processes, saying the filing of complaints is part of the country's democratic framework. The palace has also assured the public that President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. will continue to lead and keep government services running without disruption. In a statement read by Palace Press Officer Claire Castro in a press briefing, the Presidential Communications Office, or PCO, said it trusts Congress as a co-equal branch of government to carry out its duties with integrity and full adherence to the rule of law. It added that the President remains committed to upholding the Constitution and confident in the strength of the country's democratic institutions.
The Palace recognizes that the filing of the complaints is part of the democratic process provided for under our Constitution. We respect this process and trust that Congress, as a co-equal branch of the government, will discharge its duties with honesty, integrity, and fidelity to the rule of law. The President fully upholds the Constitution and remains confident in the strength of our democratic institutions. While these processes take their course, the President will continue to govern, ensuring that public services remain uninterrupted and that the work of government stays focused on improving the lives of our people. Our institutions are strong, our processes are clear, and the administration remains committed to stability, accountability, and the betterment of every Filipino.
Castro stressed that all actions of the President have been within legal bounds, adding that the complaint, as it stands, lacks merit. The palace official also pointed out that one of the groups supporting the complaint had previously been flagged during the probe into alleged anomalies in flood control projects, noting its inclusion among 8 contractors identified by the Independent Commission for Infrastructure or ICI. The impeachment complaint, filed by lawyer Andre De Jesus and endorsed by Pusong Pinoy Party List Representative Jet Nisay, accuses the president of constitutional violations and betrayal of public trust. The allegations include issues surrounding the arrest of former President Rodrigo Duterte on an international criminal court warrant, as well as supposed corruption linked to flood control projects.
Sa ngayon po, wala pa po tayong masasagot dahil hindi pa po rin natin nakikita kung anong lalamanin ng kanilang impeachment complaint. Mas mabuti po siguro makita muna po natin kung ano ang kanilang basihan para sa pagsasampa ng impeachment complaint para mas maganda po ang ating maging kasagutan. Wala po tayong personal na kaalaman kung ano ang kanilang intensyon patungkol po sa pag-file ng impeachment complaint. Ang atin lamang pong nalalaman sa ngayon ay ang party list na nag-endorse ay isa sa 8 na contractors na nabanggit ng ICI.
Was Palace Press Officer Attorney Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang said Tuesday the impeachment complaint filed against Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. could have a detrimental effect on the country's image and economic stability. Palace Press Officer and Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary Claire Castro said the administration had no involvement in the filing of the impeachment complaint, dismissing claims that it was a scripted distraction.
Hindi po natin masasabi na ang pagpa-file ng impeachment complaint paunahan ay bentahe sa Pangulo. Kahit sino pa po ang nag-file niyan. Hindi maganda sa imahe ng Pangulo na siya ay masampahan ng impeachment complaint. Hindi rin po ito maganda sa pananaw ng mga ekonomista sa ating ekonomiya dahil nakikita po may mga taong di umano na hindi satisfied or negatibo sa pagtatrabaho ng Pangulo. So hindi po ito bentahe. Kahit sino pa po ang nagsampa niyan. Hindi po maganda na makatanggap ang Pangulo ng isang impeachment complaint.
Davao City 1st District Representative Paulo Duterte on Monday questioned the motive behind the filing, claiming that the lawyer who filed the impeachment complaint was the same lawyer who represented First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos in a disbarment case. Castro categorically denied the allegation, calling it fake news. She added that even if a disbarment case had been filed, it would have been done on the lawyer's own initiative and not in representation of the First Lady. Castro also rejected claims that the administration had anything to do with the alleged orchestration of the impeachment complaint, emphasizing that the Marcos administration respects the Constitution and due process.
Una po, gusto natin ipabatid na ang Pangulo po at ang administrasyon na ito ay hindi po eksperto sa paggawa ng intriga at hindi eksperto sa pagplanta ng ebidensya. Kung yun po ang kanilang nailagay na grounds for the impeachment ng ating Pangulo, malamang ay wala silang makitang ibang dahilan para ma-impeach ang Pangulo. Ito ay policy difference at ito ay hindi base or rather hindi ito magiging dahilan para sa impeachment ng ating Pangulo. Kung ang sinasabi niya ay ang nagsampa raw ng kaso ay abogado na nag-represent kay unang ginang or First Lady Liza Marcos, yan po ay walang katotohanan. So sana po ay matapos na ang pagiging source of fake news ng mga kaalyado nila. Dahil ang First Lady po ay hindi po nagsasampa ng disbarment case. Hindi po niya abogado ang nasabing nagsampa ng impeachment complaint sa Pangulo. At kung nagsampa man siya ng disbarment case, ito ay on his own volition. So hindi po niya nire-represent ang unang ginang. So that's fake news. Definitely none. Kaya nga sabi natin, hindi po tayo sangkot sa anumang pagplanta ng ebidensya katulad ng ginawa ng kanyang ama. Sila lamang po yata ang sanay sa ganon. So sa panahon po ni Pangulong Marcos Jr., nirerespeto po natin ang konstitusyon, ang proseso at ang due process.
Meanwhile, House Assistant Majority Leader Lanao del Sur Representative Zia Alonto Adyong said the impeachment complaint lodged against the president is fundamentally weak, lacks credible evidentiary support, and is widely expected to fail to garner the necessary votes to proceed beyond the verification stage in the House of Representatives. In a statement, Adyong said impeachment must not be wielded on the basis of recycled accusations, hearsay, or purely political grievances. He noted that the accusations directed at President Marcos rely almost entirely on long-standing claims from vocal critics, claims that have already been repeatedly aired in public without producing new, verifiable evidence capable of withstanding constitutional muster. Adyong also warned against treating impeachment as a casual political tool, saying reckless or premature filings could damage the country's international standing and undermine investor confidence.
Dateline Malacañang.
Also on Tuesday, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. emphasized the importance of peace and cooperation between the national government and the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao or BARM as key drivers of the region's steady development. Speaking during the BARM's 7th founding anniversary celebration at the Sharif Kabunsuan Cultural Complex in Cotabato City, President Marcos said the progress being experienced in the region is the result of unity, dialogue, and sustained collaboration among stakeholders. The creation of BARM marked a significant chapter in the country's history, he said, noting that it was not only a milestone for Muslim Mindanao but also for the entire Republic of the Philippines. The president cited the gains achieved since the enactment of the Bangsamoro Organic Law in 2018 and the formal inauguration of BARM in 2019. President Marcos said the establishment of BARM demonstrates the collective commitment of the government, the Bangsamoro people, and the international community to peace, unity, and progress. The chief executive also noted that the creation of the Bangsamoro Transition Authority or BTA laid the foundation for self-governance in BARM.
It marks an important chapter in our nation's history, not just the history of Muslim Mindanao, but of the entire Republic of the Philippines. And it is a landmark in our fight to achieve genuine progress and unity. It is proof that sacrifice, dialogue, and unity are the keys to lasting peace. It shows that public service becomes more meaningful when it is carried out in the spirit of solidarity and collaboration. Take advantage of those national programs. Gamitin ninyo yung mga national program to bring it here to Bangsamoro. And that way, if we work together, as we all know, whenever everybody works together, there is a synergy. It's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's 1 + 1, sometimes 3, sometimes 4. And so that's what we should do together. And that's what we will always be doing with the Bangsamoro government.
Was Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday led the granting of incentives to Filipino athletes who won medals at the 33rd Southeast Asian or SEA Games in Thailand, announcing palace-funded cash rewards that effectively double the incentives mandated under Republic Act or RA 10699. During the parangal at pasasalamat sa mga bayaning atleta ceremony held at the Foro de Intramuros in Manila, President Marcos hailed the athletes' discipline, sacrifice, and contribution to nation building. The president noted that about 2,000 Filipino athletes, the country's largest SEA Games delegation to date, represented the Philippines in the regional meet last December. Under the incentive program, the Office of the President will match the cash incentives provided under RA 10699, granting 300,000 pesos for gold medalists, 150,000 for silver, and 60,000 pesos for bronze on top of incentives from the Philippine Sports Commission or PSC with support from the Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation. Each medalist also received a presidential citation, while 10,000 pesos was given to athletes who won medals in other international competitions outside the SEA Games. President Marcos singled out athletes with historic achievements. Among them, Alex Ayala, the first Filipina in 26 years to win a SEA Games gold in women's singles tennis. EJ Obiena, who secured his fourth SEA Games gold in men's pole vault, and the Philippine women's national football team, which won the country's first SEA Games gold in women's football. The president was joined by First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, PSC Chairperson John Patrick Gregorio, and Philippine Olympic Committee President Abraham Tolentino.
It is always an honor and a joy to be surrounded by high-achieving athletes like we have today. You are a shining example of what can be done with discipline, with commitment, with passion, with sacrifice, and it shows that we can achieve what others might think is impossible. Pinagdiriwan natin ngayong araw ang dangal, tibay ng loob, at pambihirang kakayahan ng atletang Pilipino. At sa pagkatapos ng kompetisyon, hindi naman ninyo kami binigo. Nakuha ng Pilipinas ang ika-6 na ranggo at kagaya ng nabanggit nga ng ating Olympics chairman, dapat mas mataas pa yan. Pero di bale, babawi nga tayo. At bukod pa ron, nakamit natin ang 277 medalya. Mas maraming medalya kumpara nung nakaraang 2023 at 2021 na SEA Games. Buong pagmamalaki namin kinikilala ang husay at galing na ipinamalas ninyo. Ngunit, may medalya man o wala, panalo kayong lahat sa puso ng isang bayanang Pilipino.
That was Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. moved to dispel public speculation on Thursday, assuring Filipinos that the discomfort he experienced the previous night was not life-threatening, calling rumors about his supposed death highly exaggerated. In a recorded message, the president said he is already feeling significantly better. President Marcos confirmed that doctors diagnosed him with diverticulitis, an inflammation or infection of small pouches in the colon. A condition he noted is common among individuals under heavy stress or advancing in age. Despite medical advice to slow down, the president admitted it is difficult to ease his workload. President Marcos also sought to calm public concerns, emphasizing that there is no cause for alarm. The chief executive was brought to St. Luke's Medical Center in Quezon City on Wednesday evening after experiencing discomfort but was discharged shortly after.
I'm fine. I'm feeling very different from the way I was feeling before. Naayos na yung problem. What happened was I now have diverticulitis. It's a common complaint amongst apparently people who are heavily stressed and people who are, I have to admit, growing old.
Overwork kayo, sir eh. Di ba sinabi ng doktor na hinay-hinay muna?
No. Well, yeah, of course, lagi naman sinasabi ng doktor sa akin yun. Pero paano mo naman gagawin yun? Ang daming trabaho.
So, sir, ano mensahe niyo doon sa mga taong nais na kayo mawala sa pwesto?
Okay, okay muna masyadong excited dahil it is not a life-threatening condition.
So, sir, wala kaming dapat ipag-alala?
Wala, huwag kayo mag-alala. The rumors of my death are highly exaggerated.
That was Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service can be heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 12.020 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.665 MHz. Radyo Pilipinas World Service is also live on audio streaming. Just download Evox PBS Receiver on your Google Play Store or the App Store from your Apple phone. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Just type in and search for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our post as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang in Review. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.